Um, Great speech. I'll just give my 2 cents, then I'm going to skip right to David. And then I ask everyone to give me about 30, give me about 60 seconds on Bernie Sanders' speech. I think it was a great speech. I think it's time for Bernie Sanders to get him a speechwriter. And the reason I say that is because he needs to effortlessly unpack complex and nuanced positions quickly and succinctly, and then move on. I think he has. You can tell this is his speech that has been transformed a little. He got personal for the first time, and I think that's something that is great. And I think those subtle changes make all of the difference. And I think he just needs to hit a couple of key areas a little stronger. And so my advice to the campaign is now that you have this momentum, now that everyone is looking at you differently and everyone is looking at you very seriously, I say get you a team of speechwriters and really nail this thing going forward. That's my advice. I don't know if anyone's interested in hearing Donald Trump. I'm not. If you are, I can definitely let him play. But if not, David, go ahead.
I'm okay on Trump. I think everyone else probably agrees. I saw Hank waving too. No, I think going forward it's going to be really interesting. I think the difference, and with regard to his speeches, he does need to expand. Getting personal will definitely help him. Voters tend to like that, tend to like knowing the candidate. And he has to get a lot more detailed, I think, on a whole series of issues that he's already unveiled his platforms, like the general bullet points. But I think he really needs to go more in depth. I think going forward is going to be really interesting. I think the race is going to kind of hang on the millennial factor, whether they come out or not. I mean, I think the huge turnout and the gap between him and Clinton is. I haven't looked at the actual exit polls, but from what I'm seeing and reading,
he beat her by 21 points.
No, that I saw. I mean, like who voted for whom.
Okay.
And I would imagine, because I did see one exit poll about young women 18 to 29. So I think if the millennials come out, it's going to be in his favor, and it's just a matter of that firewall failing in the South. I mentioned it briefly in the Hangout in the chat, but he has the HBC tour that he's gonna make the rounds on. I haven't heard a great deal about it. I think Noah might know more, but I definitely think that can help because he'll be reaching out to the youth. And
excellent.
Yeah.
David, thanks so much. Let me shift over to Hank. Hank, you have 60 seconds on the clock. What did you think about his speech?
So, I mean, I would totally agree with you on the whole he needs a speechwriter thing. I mean, I always agree with what he's saying for the most part, and I just think that if he can have somebody put it into, make it beautiful, he could really benefit from that. I thought that the beginning was the most substantial stuff. He asked for, he talked about how right now we're generating the excitement that's going to propel us to the White House, and that's completely true. Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina, if he can win it, that's what's going to make the difference, because people are saying right now, holy shit, what's going on? He's winning,
Mm-hmm.
And keeping a issue-oriented campaign, which I thought was very important, because these last few days you've seen Bill Clinton out in New Hampshire getting down and dirty against him. I didn't read in depth on any of the articles, but I was seeing Bernie Sanders and his supporters are sexist and that sort of stuff, and the feminists supporting him don't know what they're saying. That sort of stuff I was hearing, and coming from a former president, that's really low, I thought, and so. He was right on point when he was saying that, and so yeah, a lot of it was just what he always says, and that's completely right. One more thing before you go on to the next person. I know we've all seen this before, but it's the getting the youth, getting kids and young adults interested in politics. I mean, you see it from who's at his rallies and all that. you know, people my age and people a little older than me are going to be critical to this campaign, and they're the ones largely generating this excitement. They're the ones on social media. They're the ones tweeting, Facebook posting, Instagram, that stuff, and that's really going to make the difference in fighting a candidate with such a huge monetary advantage.
Yeah, very true. Nis, it's on you.
Okay, so before I go into his speech, I would like to point out that the aggregation of polls put Bernie at a 13-point lead on Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at some of the outliers, he was sometimes up by 15 points, sometimes 16, 17 points. There's only a single one that's had him, maybe two, that's had him at 20 points, which means that you can't take the extreme outliers seriously. You never do. You always go for the aggregation. Right now, with 70% of the vote counted, he is beating expectations in a double-digit lead. It's unprecedented. When you lead by double digits, you always embarrass yourself. Always. You always do worse than expected. And he is winning by 20 points. It actually just went up to 21 points, sorry. I just want us all to marvel at that fact. But with regards to his speech, I think we are being unfairly biased. Because I have covered half of Bernie's speeches, and the ones I haven't been a host on BTV on, I've been moderating or just been watching to hang out in YouTube chat with other people. But I have heard that speech so many times. I pick up every time he's just one note off, every time he is just, he stutters where he didn't used to. I pick up all the small things in it. So you got to remember right now, today, this evening, there's a lot of first-time viewers. There are a lot of people meeting Bernie Sanders for the very first time this night. So I think that we are being unfairly, unduly critical of him. I do agree he needs a speechwriter, but imagine the first time you heard this speech. Try to remember how you reacted to it. There are today millions of people sitting and reacting the same way. And now they are going to go onto the social media pages, and they're going to find out, oh, didn't I have that friend that shared that Bernie stuff once? Mm-hmm. And they're going to go and they're going to find out that they can be part of a revolution.
Anoa, it's in your hands.
Yay. Absolutely agree. And just to touch on what my man Hank said earlier, Bill Clinton actually doing what he did this weekend was disgraceful considering of who he is and all the scandal he has. So him calling anyone sexist was like laughable. And I just saw a tweet that she coming out, the exit polls are showing that he won women by 55%. Women of all age groups supposedly overall went for him. So this weekend in New Hampshire did not work to Hillary's advantage. So I think that, you know, the commentary is that he should have been speaking to South Carolina and Nevada. But I think the statement that this is the first time some people are hearing him, I think that's right. But I do agree that he does need to discuss certain issues more in depth. I mean, Hillary Clinton has gone to Flint. She won't let anyone forget. She's even staged visits to local Dunkin' Donuts, like, oh, I just came to get a cup of coffee. But we know you don't drink no Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I don't even drink Dunkin' Donuts coffee all like that, so stop playing. So I think he does need to step up his shtick a little bit to kind of really get down to the nitty-gritty. How we are reaching African-American voters. I do think that for all of us who do have the time and opportunity, please phone bank. I know I said it last night. Phone bank, phone bank, phone bank. The phone bank, the dialer is coming on for Super Tuesday states too. If you can get to Nevada, if you're on that side of the country, you can get there. Look for whatever outreach and opportunities available to help, because that is what has helped the ground effort, the ground game in New Hampshire, the ground game in Iowa. It is crucial in Nevada. It is even more crucial in South Carolina. I know unofficially there are areas of South Carolina that no one has touched, primarily a lot of rural areas, a lot of heavily black areas. They're counting on the campaign not being able to, the Clinton campaign is counting on Bernie not being able to get to certain areas, not being able to get to the actual people. So we got to talk to folks. We just got to talk to folks. We got to keep just sharing the message, spreading the platform, and by the time we're coming to Georgia, Alabama, and the rest of the Super Tuesday states, I mean, we're going to have a nice fight on our hands, so let's just keep it going. I mean, this is exciting.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks, everyone. I agree with most everything that you guys said. Um, I would say that just in general, even though this is the first time people are hearing him speak, I think it's important that he also he has to do both and. I don't think it's an either or. I think it's a both and. He really needs to always keep the same fervor that he's had in his core message. He never. I don't think. I'm not one of those that thinks he needs to change his core message. Right? As when you're running for president, Hillary Clinton has a core message, and that I'm going to be the first woman president. That is really her core message, and she brings that up in every single speech in some form or fashion. And then everything else is just like a sprinkle here and sprinkle there of, okay, I'll take that issue, I'll take that issue. Bernie Sanders does have a core message, and I think he's being true to it, and I think he should always be true to it. That being said, I think he absolutely has to begin to participate in the parts of this political system that he may not like as much, and that means he needs to dot his I's and he needs to cross his T's, and he needs to be very precise in his language for this political game. Now he's going to change the political game, right? That's his effort. He's running to change this entire paradigm, and that's why a lot of people are supporting him for the revolution. But a part of the equation is not just the people who are going to be excited because they heard him for the first time. The other part of the equation are the people who've been around for a while and that are seasoned, and he needs to dot his I's and cross his T's. So it's not an either or, it's a both and. I think he definitely needs to get a speechwriter in there. Someone in the chat room said it's time for him to get a new suit. Yeah, and why not, right? We don't want America to stay the same. That's why we're going with Bernie Sanders. So Bernie Sanders, you know, there's a couple key places where I think he can upgrade and do better. I want to contrast Donald Trump's crowd